So ghosts can lurk anywhere, even in fast food restaurants, it turns out.
Yeah, it's not just the processed food you have to worry about, apparently.
Ghosts as well.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Can't do a haunted fast food list without McDonald's, right? Well, this particular McHaunt is in Cuero, Texas. Now, before it became the Golden Arches, it was a gas station where a number of pretty dark accidents took place. A mother accidentally ran over her own son, killing him. A mechanic was crushed under a car lift. I'm sure there's more. Gonna guess a deadly robbery or two. Point is, ever since the place got turned into a McDonald's, staff have been pretty spooked. People will hear eerie sounds late at night, other than the typical types of sounds you hear coming out of people at McDonald's late at night. Toilets will flush by themselves, and a strange shadowy figure is sometimes seen in the walk-in fridge. So is this McDonald's haunted by the spirits of the people who are crushed by cars at the former gas station? Certainly seems like a possibility.
Next up, we have a Taco Bell located in Twinsburg, Ohio, that is haunted by not one, not two, not three, but 4 separate ghosts. The first of which is a large burly woodsman. There's also a military man and a young woman in a white dress. The woodsman and the military man have often been seen appearing in back hallways of the restaurant, while the young woman has been seen walking around the kitchen area. In one instance, an employee reported having seen a young woman wearing a white gown walk into the walk-in freezer, and she closed the door behind her. When the employee went to check it out, he opened the freezer door to find no woman, but instead food items strewn all across the freezer floor. The 4th ghost who haunts the establishment is a young man dressed in an outdated Taco Bell uniform. Legend has it he died while working at the restaurant and now spends his days helping out the other employees with their daily tasks. So he's not such a bad guy. He's been seen mopping up the floors, washing dishes, and handing out unsolicited advice about how he believes the restaurant should be run. One customer of the Twinsburg Taco Bell even shared a story about how one night they placed an order with an employee, but they forgot to order hot sauce. When they went back up to the counter, another employee asked if he could take their order. They said that their order had already been placed, to which the man behind the counter replied, "With who? I'm the only one here."
Next up, we have the Barge in Vancouver, Canada. Yes, just like the floating Krusty Burger in The Simpsons, there really is a floating McDonald's out in the middle of False Creek, Vancouver, or at least there used to be. It now sits completely derelict in Maple Ridge, British Columbia. It opened in 1986 as part of Expo 86, a World's Fair that was being held in Vancouver that year. It was a nautical-themed McDonald's, which is fun, but on top of that, the place was pretty cutting-edge and high-end for a McDonald's at the time. Food was delivered via a conveyor belt, there were real houseplants for decoration, the staff were dressed as sailors, and customers seemed to really like it. But it wasn't around for long. After Expo 86, the place was closed, and the Barge has passed from owner to owner in the years since, falling further and further into disrepair. And over the years, people have broken into the place to explore and have told some pretty eerie stories about the place. Supposedly, it's haunted, and looking at images of the inside online, you can certainly see why.
Next on our list today, we have a Burger King located in West Palm Beach in Florida. From the outside, it looks pretty normal, but legend has it that a young man died somewhere in or around the restaurant and now roams around the building causing chaos and scaring staff members. The ghost has been affectionately named the Burger Prince and has often been seen by the night janitors and closing staff of the establishment. Once the restaurant closes and all the doors are locked, the young man appears. One janitor who saw the man tried to chase him out of the establishment on 2 separate occasions, but both times this Burger Prince simply vanished into thin air right in front of the workers' eyes. Eventually, the janitor had enough, and he ended up quitting his job at the restaurant, claiming that he was unsettled by the sightings and the haunting energy he felt whenever he entered the establishment. Many other members of the staff have reported seeing the man as well, but it appears as though they are less bothered, probably because most of them aren't stuck with the ghost when they're all alone after dark.
The Subway sandwiches in Dodgeville, Wisconsin is said to be haunted. Now, pretty much every Subway is haunted, in a way, by the lingering presence that is Jared Fogle, that's stained the company's legacy forever at this point, but this particular Subway also has some ghosts to contend with. This location was once a Harley-Davidson motorcycle shop, the owners of which died in a car crash in 1984, on Friday the 13th no less, and to this day customers and staff feel this eerie presence in the restaurant. A presence that many believe is the spirit of the former owner's wife. Staff working alone late at night have claimed to see the ghostly figure of a woman standing behind the cash register. Sometimes names are called out even though no one is there. Items get inexplicably knocked off of shelves, and the door's buzzer will occasionally go off even though, you guessed it, there's no one around.
Did you know that Subway's bread can't be classified as bread because of the sugar content? So, not very healthy. None of these are. Next up, we have the haunted Pizza Hut location in Wooster. In Wooster, Ohio. According to a local historian, the restaurant was built on the site of a former asylum, which wasn't necessarily kind to its patients. Anyone who's been with this channel for even a week probably knows by now, old asylums almost always equal haunted buildings. But it appears that even after the old hospital was torn down and replaced with a red-roofed pizza-making fast food factory, say that 5 times fast, the ghosts are still calling the lot home. Many employees who work at this location have told of seeing ghosts and shadowy figures appearing throughout the building. Not only that, but it's not uncommon for employees and customers to hear the sounds of doors opening and shutting, even though there's no doors around where the noises are coming from. Perhaps it's the ghosts slipping in and out of hospital rooms past. Footsteps have often been heard around the restaurant as well. One manager of the establishment even claimed to have been followed by an eerie mist while closing one night, and other employees have heard music coming from an unknown source and reported feeling themselves being grabbed or touched out of nowhere and when no one else is around. That's pretty scary, if you ask me.
The Arby's in Colorado Springs is said to be haunted by the ghost of a former manager. She'd fired an employee earlier in the day who showed up at the restaurant later that day armed and fired at the manager, killing her instantly. Imagine killing your manager for being fired from an Arby's. That's pretty sad. Some really spooky stuff is said to go on at this Arby's. When employees think they're alone, either opening earlier in the morning or closing for the night, they'll sometimes see a woman wandering through the kitchen before disappearing out the back door. Some will also hear ghostly whispers, even their own name being spoken. And closers will often find chairs neatly placed back on the floor after they've put them on top of the tables for the night. I hate stuff with chairs. Chairs moving around, it's creepy.
I love how out of like all the things we talked about, it's chairs.
I don't have any chairs in my house for that reason.
This next one is pretty gruesome. While I don't know if this McDonald's location in China is necessarily actually haunted, some pretty haunting and absolutely pure evil stuff did go down within its walls. On August 18th of 2012, 6 members of a Christian splinter cult belonging to the Church of Almighty God entered the establishment and began badgering the patrons of the restaurant, asking for their phone numbers so that the cult may contact them later and provide them with information about the church. Most of the patrons reluctantly gave in, with the hopes of having the cult members leave, but one woman, Wu Shoyan, refused. The cult, believing her to be a demon, tied her to a chair in front of her children, and then in a fit of rage beat her to death. When cult members were questioned by police, they showed no remorse and simply told officials that the woman was an evil spirit and that they did not fear the law as God was on their side. They were arrested and later executed for their crimes, as they should be. It was really gross.
The Papa John's in Seymour, Indiana is said to be haunted by possibly a few different ghosts. One is the spirit of a former police officer who was killed in the plaza. There have been a few policemen who have died in the area, but in the Papa John's, especially on quiet nights, staff have claimed to see the semi-translucent figure of a man in a blue uniform. Many believe it to be the ghost of one of these police officers. One of the creepiest occurrences is the ghostly knocking as well. For a long time, the storefront connected to the Papa John's was completely vacant, but customers and staff would often hear an eerie knocking sound coming from next door.
Finally, to finish off our list today, we have a lesser known fast food restaurant east of Chicago Pizza, located in Shreve, Ohio. A lot of Ohios on this list today. The site in which the fast food pizza restaurant was built was once the site of a funeral home. Before that, a speakeasy, and before that, a depot, a boarding room, and a titanium factory, each with their own tragic history, which caused many deaths to take place on the grounds, which have caused the grounds to become haunted by many ghosts. One ghost, known as Harvey, is known to smoke vanilla cigars in the establishment's walk-in freezer, and sometimes he will even lock the freezer door and turn the lights on and off. Another ghost, Mimi, plays with the clock and messes with any bills that might get left on the counter, sometimes marking them with a red X. Coffee pots flying out of the coffee maker, slamming doors, unexplained voices, and footsteps have also been reported in the restaurant. And employees of the establishment have said that after closing time, they often hear footsteps coming from upstairs, despite the fact that the restaurant has no upstairs. I'm guessing at least one of the other places did, though.
Lots of haunted fast food restaurants, but pizza. There's a lot of spooky pizza places.
Yeah, so I mean, it makes sense. Like the sauce is all creepy.
Yeah, there's pizza's a good food to spook if you're a ghosty. All right, let us know what fast food restaurants you've been to that might be haunted.
Yeah.
And
if you have any scary chair stories, leave them down below. I don't know if that'll be included in the bloopers in the take, but you'll see what we mean. I've been your host, Hannah Thompson.
I've been your other host, James.
Perfect. See you in the next one.
Perfect. Scariest thing about a Burger King is realizing that you're in a place where you're in a Burger King. It's like, oh, what am I doing with my life? Just the fries, like just compared to McDonald's and like the chicken nuggets or the chicken tender, what do they call them there? It's just like not even close.